Okay, a little addition to our compositional class. I want to talk about using your phone, be it iPhone or Android, as a compositional tool when you're in the field. Now, we all know that the best camera is the one you have with you, right? So most of us have our phones with us pretty much all the time, and there is a wonderful camera in it, okay? And there is a freedom in using such a simple device. You don't have to think about aperture and shutter speed necessarily, ISO, any of the technical aspects. You don't have to put it on a tripod. You can just use it. Pull it out of your pocket or purse or whatever and just use it. And I think it really helps when coming up with a composition in the field because you can take several photos, boom, 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 very quickly without even really worrying about all of that other stuff. So, here I am, I'm at the beach and I've got this really cool log in the surf. So, do I want a vertical image? Just, shot at eye level. Do I want to maybe raise my camera up a little bit higher because it changes the perspective and use a little bit wider angle? It changes the perspective and the relationship of the elements in my photo. Do I want to shoot this as a horizontal, kind of down low and get the tree up higher so that it fills more of the sky? These are all decisions that are easier and faster to make if I don't have my tripod and I don't have my big girl camera and I'm not worrying about whether or not I want to do a long exposure or a fast exposure here, to freeze the water or blur the water. And I'm not thinking about on any of that. I'm only thinking about what the best composition is. Let me show you another example. So I'm at a local gardens and I'm just kind of walking around during spring bloom, and I'm noticing that there is a lot of wisteria kind of hanging through the roof of this little walkway here. And I want to capture that. I want to capture that as part of the gardens. So I walked around here for a little bit and I noticed that, do we want to include maybe some of the benches? But then at this angle, I've got, kind of a bright overcast sky behind me. And, if there's one kind of rule that I do live by, the rule of thirds, you can break it and all that kind of stuff. But one rule that I do actually live by is that if the sky doesn't help you, it hurts you. I'm sure you heard that before during this class. And here it's hurting me because it is absolutely the brightest portion of this image. And so I turned around and faced the other direction and I started aiming my camera up. And I noticed that I could get kind of a vanishing point effect here, depending on how I positioned my camera. But I am distracted by this little piece of light coming through here. So that, shooting a little bit wider made it worse. Okay, so now I've got this really, really bright portion. That's where my eye wants to go, which this is not the focus of this image. This is not where I want to take the viewer, and it doesn't give that feeling. It doesn't make my point of what I want this image to be about. This is a little bit better. So I'm switching to more of a horizontal format instead of vertical. And I'm making sure that that light peeking through in between is not showing up. But I'm also kind of sitting here going, well, do I really want to see this much of the walkway here on the left or on the right? Is it helping the image at all? I don't think so. It's not conveying that feeling of just the garden, just the roof and the vines and the wisteria hanging through it, because that is my point. That is what I want to concentrate on. So backing up didn't help, aiming up didn't help. That makes it worse, 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 worse. So here I am, I'm shooting vertical again because again, I kind of want to narrow in and get rid of that left and right. And this is just, again, shows too much sky. That thing is just bright and it is distracting. And what do we want to do with distractions? We want to get rid of them. So let's zoom in a little bit. That's maybe a little too tight, although I did notice that when I zoomed in and raised my phone up higher, so I'm actually holding it way above my head right here. and I'm noticing that I'm getting more wisteria and less kind of distracting elements off to the left and the right side. So here I'm actually creating a little bit more of a balance. I'm raising my phone up pretty high so that I can get more of the wisteria, because that was really what made me stop. That's what made me stop and want to capture this scene. And so it took all of these photos. So that's the one that I decided to slap my logo on and post on social media. I liked, because I tried it without including these little pots right here, and I kind of liked it with them. So I had one that was zoomed in a little bit further. I may have deleted that one and just kept this one. So I like the little pots on the left and the right. I've got just enough of a vanishing point to kind of give it that near to far, even though it's not very far. When I was much wider, it was including too much. It was too distracting. There were too many elements in the photo that were taking away from my subject. My subject is the wisteria hanging through the wood in the roof of this walkway here. So if that is my point, if that is my subject, and I'm trying to, again, focus attention on my subject, the biggest problem that I had here was simplifying the photo and avoiding distractions. Those are typically one and the same. Simplifying the photo is the same thing as avoiding distractions. And so I think that using your mobile phone in the field to help with compositional decisions will free up your creativity so that you can just focus on composition and light and just ignore all the settings, because those can come later. When I wanted to take this image with my big girl camera, I made a mental note of where my phone was, way up above my head, and my tripod is not that tall. And so, I mean, it's as tall as me, but I ended up having to raise the center column and then use the self-timer in order to get an image with my regular camera. I more than likely, if I had not been using my phone, if I had not been able to just raise my hand up above my head and get a shot really quickly to see what it looked like, I probably wouldn't have thought to do that with my tripod and my high quality camera. And I would not have gotten the image that I ended up with. So use that little super easy tool that you have with you all the time, and I think in the long run it will really start to help your compositions overall. But don't forget to pull out the big boy camera, big girl camera, and use that one too to get your shot. Thanks again.